Ladies and gentlemen, over the past couple of weeks, a lot of you guys have been begging me relentlessly, please, Wolf, please, in my DMs and Telegram and YouTube comments, please look at the altcoin market and I will appease your begging. I will be merciful and I will give you my analysis on the altcoin market. I will look at Bitcoin dominance, Ethereum BTC, the total 3 cryptocurrency market cap. And I'll also do a little bit of a quick look at Bitcoin as well. Looking at cyclical Bitcoin charts, 4-year cycle. We'll look at the medium term and also a bit of a long term. But overall, I will be focusing a lot more on altcoins than I usually do. And it's just to bring you guys back up to speed with what's going on with the altcoin market right now as Bitcoin heats up. When will altcoins become viable again? That's the big question. So before we get into it today, just one thing I'll mention. Go to my YouTube community page. If you have a question about the market, if you have a question you want me to answer in my next video, every couple of weeks I do a Q&A. So anything about the market, anything about Bitcoin, altcoins, anything really, charting, how to chart, how to do market psychology effectively, all of these things. You can see I've got a bunch of questions in there already. Go ahead and pop your question in there. I'll just look at one more thing before we get into it. It's the BingX and Bitunix exchanges, the 2 exchanges that I've handpicked for this YouTube channel. They're both very low in trading fees. Bitunix has never been hacked before. BingX actually got hacked a couple of days ago, but which is a weird thing to mention in an advertisement, but they paid back their users, and that was the first hack they've had in years of operation, so it's not too concerning to me personally. 15% trading fee discount with both exchanges, and the most important thing is they are global non-KYC. You do not have to verify your identity with these exchanges, which means they're applicable to everyone here. So again, 15% trading fee discount with my links down below. Check them out. Let's get into the content. Starting with some Bitcoin stuff, quick little recap here. We know the Bitcoin weekly chart RSI broke out of a descending wedge structure. That's very good. It makes Bitcoin lean a bit more bullish right now. We are also within a bullish descending channel formation on the macro scale. That's been lasting for about 6 months almost. And so then again, that's another good sign. Bitcoin's doing well right now, but it has not unfortunately yet confirmed a macro breakout. And so there's no macro confirmation of an upside movement here. There is just macro bullishness, but no active kind of move yet. We're still in consolidation. So don't really jump, my whole kind of mindset right now, as I mentioned yesterday, was it's not really worth jumping the gun. It's not really worth getting too ahead of yourself here. Not really worth selling the house and selling the kids to buy Bitcoin yet. I really don't think it is. I think you need to be waiting for the macro confirmation, but it is worth paying very close attention to these charts and planning what you're going to be doing when these breakouts occur, because it looks like these breakouts are likely to occur at this point. So we are leaning macro bullish, but we're not being ridiculous about it. And that's kind of my mindset right now with Bitcoin. Seen some good things over the last few days. Bitcoin seeing a higher low right here on the medium-term chart. I know this chart is very messy. Let me explain it to you. Higher low on the medium-term chart. Also a bullish divergence on the medium-term chart. So good stuff there. We also saw a breakout of a descending resistance line on the daily chart RSI. Another good thing right there. Bang, breakout. So good things all around, leaning bullish here. But again, we're not fully out of the woods yet because again, the macro structure itself is not broken. But even furthermore, we have not actually broken highs yet. So obviously in order to enter an upwards trend, you need to be seeing higher lows and higher highs, okay? We have seen the higher low, but we have not seen a higher high. We're at equal highs currently. And we're rejecting right now, or we're testing, I should say, the 65K level, which is a level that I very, very, very clearly dictated would be not dictated, but observed would be a major resistance level. And as you can see, the green moving average right here, the 200-day moving average is acting as strong resistance. We are compressing with the bull market support band and the 200-day moving average in a very tight range. And that range is literally $1,000 in price. So we cannot compress here for very long at all. Look at this line right here. We have the support line here in yellow. And you can see that if that support line and these compression lines meet each other, they'll be meeting each other within like 3 or 4 days, guys. So there's only really going to be a maximum amount of consolidation of 3 or 4 days left on Bitcoin. So within 3 or 4 days, and probably within 2 days, if we're being honest, I mean, we can't really consolidate here for much longer. Bitcoin will be moving upwards or downwards. Now, here's the thing. It wouldn't surprise me if we move downwards. I do think we are seeing short-term signs of exhaustion. I mentioned this in yesterday's video. But again, moving upwards, that would be great. That would mean a higher high. And of course, even if we move downwards, it's not the end of the world. We can come back down, flip these lower levels for support properly, and then break to the upside again. So even if the short term is bearish, I don't think that correlates to medium term or long term bearishness. I think that would just be a justified correction given the scale of the move we've seen so far. But let's just hope for the best. Look, who knows? Maybe we'll break upwards. There's always a possibility of that. given what we've seen in the weekly chart RSI, it's not completely off the table. I'm pretty undecided about the short term. But what I can say is that the long term's looking good and the medium term's looking good. Short term, pretty much coin flip for me at this point. I'll be quite honest. But I will say, even though it's a coin flip, we won't have to wait very long to find out the result of that coin flip because, again, we're seeing intense compression and that can't last much longer at all. I'd expect probably within the next 48 hours, we will make a decision there on the short term. So, don't go to sleep for 48 hours. Don't, take a couple of Vicodins and go into hibernation, right? This is a period of time where you want to be paying attention because this move is going to come very, very shortly. Now we can get into kind of the altcoin market a bit more. And I said I'd get into it. I'm going to get into it now. And really, look, it's quite surprising because there's actually not much to say about it, but there are a few charts I want to look at. So Ethereum is doing the exact same thing as Bitcoin right now. Everything I just said about Bitcoin can be applied to Ethereum. Literally no change there. Resistance right here, testing resistance, hasn't broken it yet. Again, so you shouldn't get too ahead of yourself. Don't jump the gun. We haven't broken that resistance yet. We are testing it currently. That's the same thing shown in the volume profile. We've gone into the crevice in the volume profile. We've got knocked back down. We do have support right below us. Same story as Bitcoin. Where it starts to get interesting is the total 3, the Bitcoin dominance chart, and the Ethereum BTC chart. And this is where we can really deduct what we should be doing with altcoins right now from. So the total 3 cryptocurrency market cap chart is a chart that measures every single dollar that is in the altcoin market, right? So this is all altcoins combined into one chart. 600 billion is the total market cap, which means there's 600 billion US dollars in total in the altcoin market. So in everything except for Bitcoin and Ethereum as well. It's minus Ethereum as well, which some people consider an altcoin, but I think it's quite a it's a bit of a loose definition. Ethereum I see as the leader of the altcoin market, not necessarily an altcoin itself. I think it is quite separate. So that's why I look at total 3 instead, because Ethereum can distort this chart quite a bit. What we have right now in the total 3, very clearly, is a very strong ascending support line in the RSI, and that has been tested 3 consecutive times in the matter of a 2-month period, meaning that is a very, very strong support zone. With 3 retests, right, you're very likely to see a bounce. So I do actually think the altcoin market cap chart, the total 3 cryptocurrency market cap chart will bounce from here. And I do think that if Bitcoin does break all-time highs, the total 3 won't be far behind, okay? But it's very important to note, let me just say one more thing before I note that important thing that I was going to say. We are still in compressing with the bull market support band, compressing with the 50 SMA and the 200 SMA. So there's tight compression here, meaning that we haven't made a decision yet. And just like Bitcoin hasn't made a decision yet. Bitcoin looks good, but it hasn't made a decision yet. Exactly the same thing on total 3. Looks good, but it hasn't definitively broken out yet. Same with this support line right here. You can use that same conclusion in a different context. It looks good to see 3 separate bounces, but the fact that we've seen 3 separate bounces means there's selling pressure, and it means the buyers aren't decided. Even with 2 bounces, they weren't decided. We had to come down again to make a decision. So it's like we're doing well. We're holding everything. We're looking good. We haven't actually gotten to the clear yet. Same thing on the total 3. What you should be looking at when it comes to the altcoin market is not necessarily the altcoin market cap. That's not a good thing for the altcoin market. That's not how you look at the altcoin market effectively. What you need to be looking at is Bitcoin dominance and Ethereum BTC. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter where altcoins are going, all right? If Bitcoin is outperforming altcoins, they're not worth touching. Bitcoin is a safer, more established, we've got more data for it, everything you want, more liquidity, everything you can name. Bitcoin is a more beneficial investment than altcoins, except for potential returns. The only reason people invest in altcoins is because of potential returns, okay? That's what an investment is. You're trying to make the most amount of money possible. If Bitcoin has better returns, there's no reason to invest in altcoins. Plus, it has all the bonus good things that altcoins do not have. So the only way you'd ever touch altcoins, you could ever justify touching altcoins, in my view, and in any logical, rational person's view who doesn't have any sort of mental defunct, okay, is if, that was a bit brutal, but it is if the altcoin market is doing better than Bitcoin. That's when you touch altcoins, right? And a good way to measure that is Bitcoin dominance, okay? Bitcoin dominance chart very clearly, objectively as well, it's not my opinion, defines how altcoins are doing in relation to Bitcoin. If this chart is rising, that means that altcoins are underperforming against Bitcoin. If Bitcoin dominance is going upwards, as a percentage of the market cap of cryptocurrency, it means that Bitcoin is outperforming altcoins on a generalized scale. Now, can you have exceptions? Yes, you can have exceptions. Yes, During this massive uptrend in Bitcoin dominance, there have been altcoins that have outperformed Bitcoin. That is true. And you can find them. If you put in the work, you can find them. I'm not saying you can't do that. Maybe you should do that, right? What I am saying is that you are investing against the macro environment, right? You are inherently at an unlikely position to succeed if you are investing in altcoins in a Bitcoin dominant market. That's just the simple truth. That's not my opinion. That's just objectively true. Okay. Now, if Bitcoin dominance is going downwards, that's what we call an altcoin season. That is literally the definition of an altcoin season. An altcoin season is not defined by total 3 going upwards. An altcoin season is defined by total 3 going upwards and the Bitcoin dominance chart, more importantly, going downwards, meaning that the market is up in the sky and it's moving upwards actively. And on top of that, all the money is flowing from Bitcoin into altcoins, okay? Altcoins are getting all of the attention. That's an altcoin season. So when should you invest in altcoins? Well, obviously, you should invest in altcoins at the beginning of the altcoin season. And we are right now not in an altcoin season yet. We're still in a Bitcoin season where Bitcoin dominance is actively rising. When will we see the altcoin season? Well, in my view, we will see the altcoin season when a couple of things happen. One of them is when Bitcoin dominance breaks down from this line right here. Okay, that's one metric. It's very hard to define exactly when it will occur. Another one is this green box right here. Another one, and this is probably the most important metric in my view, is when, well, first and foremost, Bitcoin would need to be breaking upwards because you need to be in a bull market for it to occur. But second of all, breakdown from this RSI weekly chart triangle formation. That would be a good indicator of an altcoin season beginning. But again, all of this needs to be put into context with the market in general doing well. So a couple of things would need to happen for me to be overly interested in altcoins again. Bitcoin dominance would need to be starting a downwards trend, and the bull market would need to be back on for the crypto market in general, right? So Bitcoin needs to break all-time highs and actively going upwards, and Bitcoin dominance would need to go down. And we can use that exact same argument with Ethereum BTC. We know that Ethereum BTC is the leader of the altcoin market, right? And therefore, when Ethereum BTC, we know that Ethereum is the leader of the altcoin market. And this chart right here, Ethereum / BTC, right? Ethereum on the Bitcoin pair is measuring the strength of Bitcoin in relation to Ethereum. So when this chart goes upwards, right, it means that Ethereum is getting stronger in relation to Bitcoin. And that is going to line up with altcoins getting stronger in relation to Bitcoin because Ethereum is the leader of the altcoin market. So when this chart breaks upwards, and right now it's on support, which is good news. It's on support. Maybe the top is in for Bitcoin dominance. Maybe the Bitcoin dominant market is over, right? Again, just like Bitcoin, just like Ethereum, that could be the case, right? But it's not confirmed yet. We haven't seen the confirmation of it. Bitcoin's looking good, for example. The macro is looking good on Bitcoin. The macro is looking strong, but we haven't seen absolute confirmation of a new macro move. That could be exactly the same thing we're seeing in altcoins right now. You know, Ethereum BTC looking strong, bouncing on support. That's good news, but we haven't seen the confirmation of it breaking outwards. We haven't seen the weekly chart RSI break upwards. We haven't seen Ethereum BTC break from its descending broadening wedge formation. Once we do see those things, that's when you can start, you know, selling the house, selling the car, selling the wife, and buying altcoins. That's when you can start doing it. Until we see that, you can do it, and you know, experienced analysts will do it. I will probably do it to some extent, but doing it in any major way is a very high risk game because you're going to run into the same situation, or you're risking running into the same situation that people ran into right here. Okay, what happened right here, right in March, in April, in May this year? People were expecting the bull market to continue. They did not have the confirmation, okay? They were expecting an altcoin season, right? And so they went heavy into altcoins, but they did it before the confirmation. And it turned out it was a dud. It didn't work. The altcoin season didn't come. Everything crashed down and they got wrecked, right? To some extent, that included me, right? But luckily, not to a major extent, because again, I followed this methodology. You do not invest, you do not make macro decisions without macro confirmation. So that's a good example of why you need macro confirmation. If you don't get macro confirmation, you're going to run into scenarios where, like what many people ran into right here in the early parts of this year, in the middle of this year, where you buy too early without the confirmation, you take a risk, doesn't play out, you lose a lot of money, right? So that's my view on altcoins right now. I'm not saying you can't touch them. I'm just saying it would be, you know, if you're have any sort of risk, risk aversion. If you want to evade risk, if you're looking at investing a large amount of money, you probably want to be waiting for the actual confirmation. Otherwise, you are, by definition, gambling to some extent. You are making decisions without the required evidence to do so. You are gambling. So that's kind of the rule of thumb right now, in my view, is just hold off for a minute. And look, this doesn't apply to everyone. Everyone has different risk tolerance. Everyone has different amounts of money they want to or can lose. But for me personally, if I'm talking generally, the general advice that, not even what I'm giving, what the market is giving right now, because I can't give advice, but what the market is saying to us right now from a macro perspective is, we're almost there. We haven't quite got the evidence. Probably hold off for a bit and then make the decision. That's literally what the market is saying, if I had to translate from charting numbers into English. So that's not even my advice. That's just what the market says. So guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I assume this is going to be taken, my opinions here are going to be taken out of context by a lot of people in the comments. We'll see how it goes. I hope I made myself clear enough. I think I did. I'll see in the editing process. Thank you for watching, guys. Check out the BingX and BitTriniX exchanges, 15% trading fee discounts with my referral links down below, as I mentioned at the start of the video. So check out those referral links. Check out the course as well, Become a Trader 10-unit course. As per the title, if you're interested in becoming a trader, you can do that course and you will become one, right? You have the information, the knowledge to become one at least. All the information's on the website. And the last thing I'll mention, guys, is the VIP group on Telegram. We trade altcoins 5 times a week on VIP, altcoin trading signals, okay? So short-term trades, medium-term trades on VIP 5 times a week, 4 times a week, sorry. Sometimes up to 5 times a week, but mostly 4 times a week. And we've got a 78.39% win rate over the course of 2 years of our trading results. You're also getting access not only to trading signals, but to a group chat, right? Group chat's been incredibly useful recently. Over the last few months, especially during that crash, it was popping off, a lot of information being put in there, a lot of insights. And yeah, check that out if you're interested, guys. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you tomorrow.